If you are thinking about starting your own service business, there's something you should know. Everybody who succeeds at this runs into this one issue. Welcome back to the Security Bros. I'm Kenton. This is James. And the issue is that once you've been in business, maybe for a few years, you've started to become successful, you have just like a lot of things going on in your company, eventually you end up with this kind of gunk that's happened because you haven't fully thought through everything that you're doing, which of course you can't know in advance. That's why, like, as you build things out, you then see the issue with all of those things, and you almost have to take a few steps back to then say, okay, where am I? How do I clean this up?
Yeah, it can kind of display itself in a lot of different areas of the business, pretty much any area of the business, to be honest. One of the big ones that we found was we were dabbling in a lot of different products. So we took all of that down and shrunk it down to, which you may have heard us talk about this before, is our core four. So we have 4 products that we sell in our business, which is access control, cameras, intercoms, and alarm systems. And we only sell one of each of those types of products. 4 categories, 4 actual products, and that simplified things way down for our business.
It makes it a lot easier to sell. It makes it a lot easier for us to manage, provide support, and service, maintain from start to finish. And with the kind of business we run, it really never finishes. I mean, that's one reason why it's made our life so much easier, because we never complete a sale and then we're done. You know, it's not like we sold them a car and good luck. If we install something, clients expect us to continue servicing it for like ever. That means if you install too many different things, you have to keep training all new hires on all the things that you've ever installed, which is why the sooner that we were able to figure out exactly what we wanted to provide, it means that years into the future, we won't have to keep training people on like 100 different things.
This is something that I think should be an ongoing checklist item in the business. If you have, say, a 15-step process, if you can knock that down to 5 steps, that could save you a lot of time, and consequently also put a lot of money back into your pocket.
A lot of people, when I started this company, I used to talk about efficiency a lot. That was like a big thing for me. And a lot of people associate being efficient with being fast. And they'll say like, but people can only work so fast. And I'm like, that's one thing I've never asked people to work fast. Efficiency isn't about working fast.
Right.
It's true, you can only work so fast. And in fact, if you keep pushing people too fast, that honestly becomes less efficient because they're going to make mistakes. And there's nothing more inefficient than making mistakes, because now you have to go back, and the time it takes you to undo something and then redo it is like way longer than taking longer to just do it right the first time.
We've all been there. You're down to the wire. You're like doing your stuff really fast. You're like running over here, and then like you're over here and you're like, oh my God, I forgot that thing. See, now you're running over to do that, and then you're just forgetting stuff. But if you had actually just took the time to like think through it and work through the entire thing, take your time, you would be a lot less stressed, so that would be nice. And then B, you might have actually finished a little bit faster because you're not forgetting stuff. Yeah, you're 100% right. Efficiency is not necessarily speed.
Yeah, not at all. That's why I would say, well, no, I'm not talking about speed. I'm talking about an efficiency within a process. Right. Well, first of all, even just having a process can make you more efficient. If you have no process at all and you make it up every time you do it, then you're going to be like super inefficient. If you do too many things, then obviously you can't have a process because you're always doing something new, which is tough. Because if you're the type of person that wants to start a business, if you're entrepreneurial, you may do it because you like doing new things. I mean, how many of us start companies because our employer would not listen to our ideas? We wanted to try stuff. We wanted to do new things. And the thought of saying, I'm going to be that guy that says no more new things. I don't want new ideas. I want to solidify this, and I want to do this process. It kind of sounds like, you know, when people say like, well, why are we doing it this way? Oh, because that's how we've always done it. And it sounds dumb, but there is an element of saying, we're going to follow a process. And even if sometimes in some scenarios, it might be better to do it a little different, sticking to the same process so that you just have consistency in the business is worth sometimes what you might lose in some speed. There's just more reliability in the company. Yeah, and that feels boring, which is why we all like hate to do it.
So in our business, one of the, we install equipment at customer sites. That equipment needs to be programmed. It'll be electronic equipment, say like a camera system. So you buy a camera system for your building, we come and we install it on your building. It has to be programmed. So the traditional way, a lot of times is, the technician would take it to your building and program it and install it and do it all kind of on site. One of the ways we found to increase efficiency is to program it beforehand and have it all good to go. That way the technician just gets it and all they have to focus on is installing it. They don't have to worry about pulling out stuff and computers and programming it on site. And it seems like a simple thing, but when you have like a nice big open workspace and you can, lay all your stuff out and say program all the equipment and then, package it back up and get it ready for installation, it's a lot easier to do it there in a controlled environment than if you're like a technician and you're, like sitting here like this in a room, like trying to like program. Trust me, we've all been there. You're like tucked in the back of some electrical closet trying to like program stuff. It's not an efficient way to do it. It's uncomfortable. It's annoying for the tech. It's bad all around. So, and it takes longer. So increasing efficiency by taking that out of the field. So all they have to do is just install the stuff, focus on that, maybe call up home base, be like, hey, do you see it online? Something else that you came up with more on the business side of things is doing like the project software tags. So in the project software, he added tags to all of our jobs. So that way, as they move through, every department can see the tags of what's going on. Maybe you can explain more about this since that was more your baby.
Yeah, well, it was cool because our project software, talking about really getting efficient, this was cool. So about a year ago, our project management software finally added the ability to do like minor CRM stuff where we can track jobs in a pipeline view. We had a whole separate CRM that we used just so that we could look at all of our jobs in pipeline view, and we had those exact same jobs in our project management software. When our project management software added the ability to look at all these things like job cards and do pipeline view, I was able to get rid of an entire software out of our tech stack, and it solved the problem of having duplicate entry of
about increasing efficiency.
Those job cards, it might just say like job 1804, the name of the client we're working with, and a couple pieces of info on the job card, and then you can click on it and see more info. But one of the things that, as you mentioned with the job tags, there were certain pieces of info or like certain things that needed to happen in any stage. So there might be a stage where it's called approved, meaning that the quote has been approved, and so that card, the project has moved into the stage of approved. But certain things have to happen in approved. And we'll have these tags like, do we need to collect a deposit? In most cases, we have to collect a deposit. So if we need a deposit, it'll say a tag of like deposit needed. So when we're building out that job, we put in all the tags that we need. Like, do we need to set up a subscription for the client? Do we need, so it'll be like a subscription tag. Do we need to collect a deposit tag? And then there's people that know what they need to do with those jobs. And so if they see the job has been approved and they see deposit is needed, then they send the quote, the deposit invoice, and then they can remove the deposit needed tag so that they don't accidentally go and send it twice. If they've done it once, they remove the tag. Right. If the subscription has been set up, they remove the tag. And so eventually we get to the end and there's no more tags and there's nothing left to do on that project. That has made it so that we don't have to manually like chat and then forget.
That was actually a really great point, that speed does not necessarily equal efficiency. Efficiency does usually actually kind of equate to speed, because while there might not be a way to increase the efficiency of some particular task or process right now, that could change in the future.
While speed and efficiency are not the same thing, and while I don't push people to work really fast because they'll make mistakes, speed is actually really important in a business. But usually the speed that I'm concerned about is if we're trying to roll something out. Let's say we want to bring in like this much in sales. Can we, instead of it taking us a year to bring in that sales, can we get it done in 6 months?
Sure.
And it's not, you're not going to do that. You're not going to achieve that kind of jump in speed by like working fast. You know, if we're building out a software thing, instead of it taking 2 years, can we get it done in 1 year? If we're trying to update something on our website, it's like, how long will this take? Oh, it'll take 2 months. Can we get it done in 1 month? Is there a reason we can't?
Right.
Look, what would it take to get it done in 1 month? Why does it have to take 2? Speed matters, because anytime you can make something happen in half the time, then the next thing, can you make that also happen in half the time? And if you fast forward that, like you play that out over 5 years, you are like so much farther ahead.
I mean, even look at companies like Amazon. You know, first it was the 2-day delivery. I'm not sure at some point before that it was probably not even 2-day delivery, but 2-day delivery, and then it was in certain locations, same-day delivery, which is crazy. And then it was a couple-hour window, and now within 30 minutes,
4,000 products available for delivery in 30 minutes or less.
they're always pushing the boundary to the next thing. How can we become more efficient? How can we have more speed?
Well, the key is how, as opposed to can. If you say, can this happen? There is a possibility for the answer to be no. But if you say, how do we do it?
Oh, it encourages innovation.
You skip the whole no process.
Yeah.
And the answer you might get back is something that sounds crazy. Great, so we're going to do something crazy. If you like doing things all kind of crazy, why don't you do something super crazy and give this video a like so we know, and share it so your crazy friends know.
Bye.